Hey everybody, Daryl and Holly with Exquisite Exotics here with another video. I apologize ahead of time. I have a slight cold, so if I cough in the middle of the video, I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. I know it is. Today we're going to talk about a product that you all probably have seen before called Provent-a-mite. Holly. The can. Dun, da, da, da. Provent-a-mite. Some disclaimers to start the video because I like disclaimers and I put disclaimers in videos. I'll get out so it can actually focus.
Do they do this in makeup videos?
Come on. There you go. Focus. Good enough. It's there. Provent-a-mite. I'm sure you all have seen the can before.
I'm not an Instagram model.
So, disclaimers. Firstly, the can has directions on it. You should always follow directions. This product can kill your animals if used incorrectly. I will 100% tell you it can. Also, never get all your information from one source. Don't take our video as the know-all be-all. Those are my quick disclaimers on the product, so keep those things in mind. But what I do want to share is what we do with Provent-a-mite, which we have never lost an animal to before. And I attribute that to one thing, and that is I called them before I started using it and had a good long 15-minute conversation with them about the product and how they recommend using it. Because there's always the on-the-can instructions for stuff, but then there's the I know other people who are doing this experience and this is how they use it and they've been successful. And we took that information to kind of lead how we use the product. So firstly, if you haven't used it before, give him a call. He did tell me there are some snake species that are more susceptible to having issues with it. I called him years ago. I don't remember what those species are. They're not ball pythons or blood pythons that we keep. Now that we have a blood python that you guys saw in our last video. I remember they were some of the smaller species that caused issues. If you hear a door opening, that's our cat who knows how to open doors. Crazy. So, here's what we do. First, this only works if you keep your animals in a rack system. It probably doesn't work as well if you keep your animal in a single enclosure. Or display. So keep that in mind if you're watching this video hoping that you keep your animal in a single enclosure with substrate, and I'm going to show you the magic way to use Provent-a-mite safely. Unfortunately, I'm not, because that's not how we keep our animals, and the process we use won't work for that. Second, this process takes longer than what the can instructions are. They're like spray, wait 15 minutes kind of deal that they give you. This takes longer than that, but again, speaking to the company themselves, it's a safer process, so this is what we do. So first, you need extra tubs. You can't have the tub that they're going to be in be the tub you treat them in. Second, if you're bringing home a new animal to quarantine, you need to spray tubs ahead of time. So get a good idea of how many animals you think you're going to pick up at a show. Spray twice as many tubs as you think you need, and then you should have enough tubs for what you actually are going to use. You also need to use a paper substrate. I recommend that for quarantine animals anyway. We use paper substrate for everything, but if at least during quarantine, so you can see if there are any mites or anything coming off the animals, I highly recommend use paper during quarantine at a minimum. And that's when we're really using this. We haven't really had to use it as an outbreak issue kind of deal. It's always been a quarantine kind of deal. All right, so take an extra tub. Hold on, I'll be right back. Extra tub. Okay. What you're gonna do is we don't need to demonstrate the spray. You're gonna spray this tub following the directions on the can. The directions on the can have some really good information about how far you should be away when you spray and how much you should be using for a given area. Like I think it talks about seconds that for a given square inch kind of deal. I think was on the back of the cans when we read them so long ago. We've gotten used to it now, so we do it. But follow the directions on the back of the can. There's also, I think, a direction sheet on the website for Provent-a-mite, which I think has a little extra information. Or if you talk to them, you can ask them to send it to you, because they did for us. Follow the directions on the can for how to spray it, okay? Set this thing aside for 24 hours. I know, it sounds crazy. The can says 15 minutes. But don't put an animal in this for 24 hours. Trust me on this one. All right, then you're going to take your paper. Be back again. Paper, nothing special, just blank newsprint. You're going to spray one side of your paper and let it sit for 24 hours. You're going to see a common theme here. everything sits for 24 hours before you put an animal in it. Once everything is sat for 24 hours, then you can put your paper in your tub. Yes, the Provent-a-mite may make your paper curl a little bit. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. It's just a little moisture. It's fine. Put your paper in your tub. Provent-a-mite slide up so that it's touching the animal. Put your fresh, clean water dish, which was not in your tub when you sprayed it, because you don't want to spray the water dish. You don't want water in there when you're spraying either. Keep that in mind. It better be a dry, clean tub when you start. Put everything in there, then move your snake into it. Okay? That tub is good technically for about 30 days. The life cycle of a mite is about 30 days. I'm not going to get into semantics and arguments on how long the life cycle of a mite is and all this stuff that you can go on the web and search yourself. It's about 30 days. The spray is good for about 30 days. That means that the weakest spray is at the point that the mites are about to reproduce. So don't leave it for 30 days. In 2 weeks, 14 days, that's North American 14 days. Canadian.
Fortnight.
Yeah, fortnight. It was a joke if you didn't get it. Anyway, 14 days, leave it in there. In 14 days, well, technically 13 days, spray a new tub with new paper, wait 24 hours for it to dry, move your snake over, okay? I suggest doing that twice. So you have to do it 2 times, that way you get a full month and a half on Provent-a-mite, 45 days, that's longer than the life cycle of a mite. You have fresh Provent-a-mite every 2 weeks, even though it should last a full month. So you're always never worrying about your Provent-a-mite strength being enough that a mite might survive. And that's it. So that's how we treat for mites. For anything coming in our collection. Whether or not we see a mite or not, it gets treated with Provent-a-mite. Everything has. Every single animal we've brought in has gotten treated for Provent-a-mite. It's just part of our quarantine process. And again, go ahead. I've been chit-chatting way too long. Holly's been quiet over here.
It's okay. And we do that even with, I'm going to loosely say reputable breeders. I mean, we obviously, treat everybody with respect, but those names that are out there, even if the animal has come from them, we do this because we've either picked up at a show and you don't know what's at a show, or you just don't know. So it doesn't matter if you're going to, like the Steve Irwin reptile place. It's not real. I'm just saying he's a very big name. I'm just saying that if you're going to somebody very reputable, just do it because it's your health.
Garrick from Royal Constrictors, JKR, I don't care where I get the animal from, I'm going to treat it anyway. And I don't think they have mites in their collection at all, don't get me wrong. But mites are extremely fast. If you read anything about them online, it does not take more than a weekend at a show for a mite to make it onto a snake. So if the table next to them has something with a mite, there's no reason it couldn't make it onto their snake, even though they don't have mites. In fact, we haven't started doing shows yet, but when we do shows, anything that comes back from us from the show is going to go through quarantine protocol before we put it back in our main collection. It's just shows can have mites. It happens. So treat everything. That's my recommendation. And do it this way. Again, I can't say that you won't ever lose an animal. It is a product that, if used incorrectly, can kill an animal. But I can tell you that we have not had a single loss from using Provent-a-mite in this method. Don't follow the 15 minutes on the can. Don't just... Or
some videos I've seen that totally spray and the cloud's not even down from the spray and they're saying put your animal in and I cringed.
Yeah,
so
listen,
please don't do that either. Even if you follow what's on the can, just please don't put them in the cloud of Provent-a-mite.
Yeah, and I'm not saying your animal's going to just die because you put it in after 15 minutes either. Don't think that's what I'm trying to say is it's just instant death. I'm just saying for safety reasons, wait. If you're keeping it in a rack system, wait 24 hours after spraying before you use the stuff. I know that seems like a pain. We have, on occasion, waited 3 to 4 hours to use a tub. If we came home from a show and we're like, oh man, we forgot to spray tubs. Let's spray some tubs. And we've waited a couple hours. Again, not the 15 minutes that they kind of recommend. So that's our recommendation for safely using Provent-a-mite. Use it as your own risk. It can kill animals. I'm not saying it can't, but we've had good success with it. It definitely kills mites because we've seen mites in quarantine that don't make it out of quarantine, and there's none in our regular collection. So we're doing something right.
Another thing real quick to add, because I know that Daryl said we are not the end-all be-all, that we are not by means, trying to push anything as far as that goes. This is just exactly how we use it, and we've had success with it. You've probably done some research, or even if you haven't, you might hear the words frontline or raid or whatever those are. We are not recommending that. We are not saying that those are good or bad. So do your own research, but we are highly recommending Prevent-a-mite to do it the safe way.
Yeah. We have not used any other products. We have discussed, there is, I believe it's Raid brand, and it's for head lice spray that has the same active ingredients as Prevent-a-mite. So technically you would think they should work the same. Could they be identical? Absolutely. Are they identical? I don't know. In fact, probably the only people who know are the people at Prevent-a-mite and Raid. And nobody else has done chemical analysis on it. That's the reality of the situation. So we have discussed using that before to give it a try. We haven't yet. And don't think another thing. You see the size of our YouTube channel. We are not endorsed by Prevent-a-mite at all for this video. Listen, Prevent-a-mite, if you see this video and you want to send us some free cans, that would be sweet because those cans are not cheap. Just saying, you know. There's a plug for you and some cans of Prevent-a-mite for me. It's a win-win for everybody. Anyway. I think that's it. Oh, geez, I made it and almost coughed. I made it through the whole video without coughing so far. It's a successful video.
I just got to keep you talking all the time.
Yeah, geez. I hope you guys have found this information useful. Maybe enlightened you to a different way to use Prevent-a-mite spray that you haven't heard of before. Maybe you have. I'm sure we're not the only people who have ever done this before either. Not that we have heard of anybody, but we learned it from the guys who make Prevent-a-mite. I'm sure they have a customer who told them that's how they use it, and that's why they gave us that recommendation to wait as long as possible to use it. And it's good for 30 days-ish. So if you want to spray your paper for like that replacement, 2-3 days ahead of time, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You need a space. Good tip. It can't be a super damp or moist area. Mm-hmm. If the humidity is real high, the papers get all curly and they're awful, not usable. So try to do it in doesn't need to be dry, but a fairly dry place wherever you're going to spray the papers. And the tub has to be 100% dry when you spray it. You don't want that Prevent-a-mite be in a liquid form still. Okay, I think I covered everything. All the disclaimers. Figure stuff out. Read for your own. Learn stuff. That's important in all things in life. But try to share information that we found useful and helpful. Anything else, Holly?
No, you said enough for both of us.
I said more than most people should say. I said enough for 6 people. Like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff.
Leave feedback.
Feedback, yes. If you use Prevent-a-mite, hey, leave it down in the comments. If you've used it and it's hurt an animal, leave down in the comments the process you used or the animal species that you had a problem with. Because, again, I remember him telling me there were some species, and I remember they were smaller species, and I don't remember which ones, are more susceptible to it than some of the bigger species. Now, we have used this on, unfortunately, because people sell, in our opinion, ball pythons a little too small. We have used this on animals, ball pythons that are pretty newly hatched, under
80 grams.
Yeah, like 70-ish, 60-ish grams that we've bought from people. So, even on small ball pythons, we have not had any issues. But I have heard on some smaller species there have been issues, especially if it gets like a vapor layer trapped between the paper and the tub that he talked about.
Yes, please do them separate.
Yes.
Don't
spray them together. They need to be sprayed completely separate from each other. But anyway, that's my recommendation. That's the recommendation we got from calling them. I recommend calling them, doing research, and figuring out for yourself what works for you. But this is what works for us in the tub environment, in a rack system.
Yeah. I'm sorry, one last thing. I know that it's like, are we done, are we not, are we done, are we not? Daryl did mention how you might think like, it's an inconvenience or something like that. It is a one-time thing per animal that you're doing. It is 2 or 3 times, you said, maybe, like to get it for the 45 days. Yeah. And all you're doing is spraying, and then you're changing them out. Like, you're not going through this lengthy process or situation of quarantine like they're in jail. So, yes, it is annoying. We're very used to very, lax lifestyle, us humans. But it's one time to do this for the health of your animal. Yeah. That's why we want to express that.
All right, sorry guys, the memory card filled up there, which means this video is too long. So let's get through this end stuff real quick. Holly's question, how many times do you have to treat? It's the initial treatment and then 2 more. The last one of the 3, you're going to wait at least 2 more weeks before you take them out off the Prevent-a-mite, so you get a full 45 days of Prevent-a-mite. In fact, if you want to, you can leave that on there even longer until the Prevent-a-mite runs out for the 30 days. One other thing I thought of while Holly was talking was keep an extra tub and some paper spray in case your animal either urates or defecates and you have to replace or clean the tub. You need to be able to have stuff to replace it with. So if you have to like clean and scrub the tub, the Provent-a-mite's useless at that point. You need to replace it with another tub that has Provent-a-mite. If it's only on the paper and you're just replacing the paper, then you can just put new paper back in there. But I have extra paper and tubs ready just for that case. I'd say 1 per animal you're treating. Again, this is for quarantine. Most people aren't getting in 100 animals into quarantine at a time. We're talking a handful of animals that you're taking care of at once here. All right. I think that's it. Because the video's long. I don't know anything else. Holly?
Nope. No.
All right. I already mentioned the YouTube stuff and we breezed past it and kept talking. So thanks, everybody. We appreciate the support. Comment below. And we'll see you all later.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.